Okay. Okay, here we are. First of all, thank you very much for the interview. Welcome to Italy.
Just 1 second. When he's doing the interview, everybody has to shut the fuck up.
Thank you. Okay, so it's super nice for me to see you here in your finally next to my country, which I really drove like 500 kilometers to reach the place. And okay, here we are in Verona. What do you expect from the exhibition here? How do you like it?
Well, Luca set up a really nice exhibition, and everything is really great the way he has. It's a beautiful space here in Verona, and I'm very proud to be here.
It's super nice, and this is this is first exhibition in Verona.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Italy, have you been here before in Italy?
Rome a couple of times.
Okay.
And in Manfredonia and Foggia.
Okay, yeah. So you're
Yes,
almost a local.
The guy in Foggia, his father owns the train yard, and his father's friend owns the wine vineyard. He's like, Blade, before I die, can you come over to Foggia and paint my dad's trains? And I was like, sure.
He was delighted.
Yes. And then like 2 months after I did it, he really died.
Come on.
That was like he asked his father, I want this guy from America to do that. And he was like 40 years old.
Come on.
I was like, your father owns a train yard? Right? Like nobody owns a train yard.
Crazy. No, but hey, sorry. Can you give us a view? Now we are in Verona 2024. Your first exhibition in Europe at Yaki Kornblit.
1982.
It was 82 or 83. I was.
The painting he has, maybe I was there 83, but he has paintings from 82.
Yeah.
In 82, he has the first painting I ever made, which is at the Groningen Museum, the new Groningen Museum.
Right now.
Has it for the last 40 years. And the other half of the first one I ever made is in my home.
Can you compare it, the exhibition over there? It was a new thing for Europe, not just for Europe.
For everybody. No one ever seen anything like that. And because of Yaki Kornblit, Vincent Blasblum, Hank Pijnenberg, and Wilhelm Spierstra, which are the collectors' names, are the first people to embrace the graffiti in the Netherlands. And every show that I did, Rammelsy, Dondi, Scene, Quick, Futura, and Knock 167, all sold out. So you walk in with 10, 15 paintings like we have here, and everything is sold because people are like, what are we looking at? We've never seen this before. And I'm like, these are the top graffiti guys from New York
City. It's unbelievable. Yeah. When you compare that time and today, when we are talking about the movement completely changed, of course. We have today something what art historians start calling, or journalists start calling it street art. For me, it happened late 90s, something like this. I realized something new is going on. What is your opinion about that correlation, or is it, what people today think about street art? I still think that some people mix somehow in a wrong way graffiti and street art. For me, it's a different thing.
It's completely different. Graffiti and street art are completely different. Street art is something that derived from the original graffiti, and street art is something that seems more acceptable and mainstream because graffiti, of course, is the lettering. And not everybody likes the lettering, but that's how graffiti began in 70 and 71 in New York City with Tracy 168, Super Cool,
Julio was there,
Julio 204, Tacky 183, Stay High 149, Staff 161. These were phase 2. These are the people that were writing from before me.
I was lucky to meet phase 2 as well.
Yes, he loved Italy.
Unbelievable, yeah. One question which I didn't prepare right now, I just remember it. Is it, I heard from some people as well, is graffiti something which really connect different people, from different communities of New York City?
Yes,
for the first time, kids started mixing together.
Just kids sitting around playing basketball and running and playing, and then sitting on a bench and making sketches and drawing. And like the original Crazy Five members, Tel 13 is from Yugoslavia, Mario.
Yeah.
Vam is Italian. The guy that wrote Death and Rocks is Irish. And Karachi is a Jewish guy. And I'm a black dude. And you just have a bunch of kids, 15 years old, running and playing and having a nice time. And nobody saw color because this is Vietnam War still going on in 1972 with Nixon and all the bullshit. And we're just a bunch of kids that just want to run and play and make colors and have fun.
Yeah, and is it okay? That was the time of New York City when there was a lot of gangs as well on the street or something, violence on the.
Yes.
Is it, somebody told me, I heard or I read it, I don't remember it, that for a lot of kids of that time, graffiti was escape somehow
from the gangs.
From the gangs.
The graffiti guys were never with the gangs with the violence.
Yeah.
We're just a bunch of kids, like, let's smoke a joint, kiss girls, and go out and make colors.
Yeah.
And if the black spades want to go fight the golden guineas and they want to fight the savage nomads, so, they're all out there trying to beat each other to death because of my turf. And I'm like, who cares about that side of the street is your turf? This side of the street is my turf. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then a lot of those guys got drafted and had to go to Vietnam. Now you can go fight for real. Here's a gun, and you can go kill some guy in Vietnam that never did anything to you because Nixon said so.
Yeah,
Something really stupid. So we're just looking at that. Karachi 11 of the original Crazy Five wrote a book, Tiger Force, about Vietnam War, because his brother and Van's brother were there, and he won the Pulitzer Prize for his book, Tiger Force. So look for Mitch Weiss if you ever want to read a book. That's Karachi 11. See him, very conservative, silver hair now, like this.
Interesting. Yeah, didn't know that.
Nobody.
Yeah. Yeah, because as I said, it was for us. Look, I was born in '73. I'm 51 right now.
I'm just jealous because you say it.
No, when I first time saw graffiti we saw it on television through the movies. I mean, finally you have Walter Hill's Warriors. I think For the Patch or something like this was showing on the television, and I was just watching those trains and behind the scene. It was for me something. And finally in Zagreb we got, as I said, 83, 84, first B-boys start, dancing on the streets or something. It came with a hip hop. How is your connection? It didn't start with the graffiti. It didn't start with the hip hop.
No. When you see the first rap song I ever heard was Rapper's Delight, which came on the radio in 1979 on WBLS. With Frankie Crocker, but you didn't have any hip-hop music from 70 to 79. You had funk music, you had Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, Jethro Tull. That was the music on the radio at the time, Sly and the Family Stone, and Kool and the Gang for me. And of course, by the middle 70s, you had disco. So you got Casey and the Sunshine Band and Donna Summer and the Bee Gees and Tavares. So they're putting the hip-hop thing into breakdancing.
Yeah.
There is no way I would be out there breakdancing and spinning on my hair in the mid-70s because it's just stupid.
It would be beautiful hair.
Because I had this really great afro, just like Lee with the hair, and none of us were breakdancing and rapping and doing anything. We're going to go home and listen to Casey Kasem's Top 40 of normal music when you're listening to Yes and The Who.
Nice. Tell me, those 70s and famous blackout in New York City, 77, your experience back then, how many?
I was 20 years old, and me and myself and Mario, actually went out because the whole city was blacked out, and we took all the spray paint that we had and just painted trains for like 2 or 3 days. Just because
without sleeping, without going back.
You just go inside the train, pass out, wake up a few hours later, and then right back to it because we're just having this great time drinking Wild Irish Rose wine and just paint as many trains as you can. None of us thought outside of like, hey, instead of painting trains, let's rob the jewelry store. and then we'll be rich. We're just thinking like kids. Let's paint trains and drink wine.
It's super nice. Okay, what I, of course, find in your biography or something, you were painting from 72 up to 84. Starting galleries with the Kornblit or something like this.
Jackie Kornblit,
Yep.
when he was doing that, I'm sorry, finish it.
Yep.
Well, he got really angry because Sean and I were doing shows at his gallery in '82, and then he came to New York to yell at us, really yell at like we're little kids, because we're in the train yard. He's like, "You morons can't go in the train yards in '84 if you're doing shows in my gallery. No one's going to come and purchase the artwork if you're giving it away for free." And my wife, Dolores, at the time, was very happy because in '84, I'm already 27, and she didn't want me out there. Well, you got to go to work in the morning. We're married. You got to pay the bills and the car insurance and the electricity. You can't be out there with Sean running around in a train yard at 27.
Those years are years of when I noticed from the time frame of that time, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Keith Haring appeared on the scene as well.
Yes, they came along just after.
Yeah. And some art historians will say the street art started with those at that time, but are they really? They were really part of the graffiti scene or not? Or
they came to the shows. I had a show at the Stoic Segui Gallery, which was the first solo show in New York. At the same time, Andy Warhol had one of his last shows off of Houston and Mercer Street. And Keith Haring, Kenny Scharf, and Basquiat came to see the shows. And then they walked down the street to meet Mr. Warhol.
Okay.
And pretty much he was explaining to his collectors, these guys represent the streets. And when Mr. Warhol was doing that, my wife Dolores was there, and that's when they started saying street art instead of graffiti.
Okay.
Because they tried to differentiate
to make the little bit
Mr. Warhol said so.
Yeah.
So who's going to argue with him?
Andy Warhol told them to
yes,
start.
These guys represent the street. That's street art.
Okay.
And of course, they did not represent the street. The graffiti guys represented the streets because we were already doing trains. Keith Haring's just some guy running around with a piece of chalk he stole from class, writing his name in chalk on a train station is how that actually came about.
Yeah.
And I don't know with Basquiat because he was too young.
Okay.
So I didn't. A lot of the other artists, I didn't meet them.
Yeah.
Street art is more accepted in the gallery scene because most of the original graffiti people have become too difficult to work with, and too much beef and too much headache, and people don't want that. You want to do a gallery show? Do a gallery show.
Yeah.
And don't, I meet artists from when I was a kid to remind me of arguments and beef we've had back from 1974. And I'm like, well, okay, so we had this real problem in '74, but now that you're somebody's grandfather, maybe you should let that go since that's 50 years ago, dumbass. Who cares what happened, with whatever argument?
Yeah.
I see you after school at 3 o'clock, you duked it out, and that's it. You're going to bring that up 50 years later? Now
It's crazy.
Take your grandchildren to the zoo.
It's really crazy. Okay, you told me, I didn't know for that you were living in Miami or something.
Near Miami.
Do you still follow, or at least to find that today New York City is burning again in a way? There's a lot of whole trains running or going.
Yeah, and I don't keep up with it. A friend of mine, Doc Magic from the old days, Ajax One's partner, he has to commute back and forth to work. Okay. So he sees it. He's like, Blade, these kids are going crazy. I'm like, but Doc, what they're doing is now a felony. When we did it, it was a B misdemeanor. Okay. Which meant the cop isn't going to do a lot of paperwork. He's going to slap you around. He's going to take your marker and splash it all over your new white sneakers.
Okay.
Which was worse than going to jail because the sneakers were $10. It took you months to save $10. Everything was 5 and dime stores.
Yeah.
And the police were like, we're not doing paperwork for a half a dozen guys running around.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah, it's a completely different story, definitely.
It's a
today.
felony. What the kids today should be doing is looking to getting into graphic design, and that way they can have a future and a
Yeah.
career.
Yeah.
Be better.
There's still a lot of active, let's say, old school people.
Yes.
Do you still paint from time to time some walls beside those?
No, not ever.
No, okay. Any, feeling to should do something.
I always have the feeling there that I want to go, but I don't.
Come to Croatia, then
Yes,
I'm
come to
inviting
Croatia,
you, right?
and then I can drink schnapps and be a nut.
Exactly, rakia. We call it rakia.
Yes. No, but I don't do anything illegal for over 40 years, since '84.
Okay.
Because I'm more concerned, of course, my home.
Of
and,
course, yeah.
You know.
No, okay. Okay, well, anything to add, what you'd like to say? Message to Croatian people, maybe, because
Hey,
we
I'm
are a
glad-
magazine from
I'm
Croatia.
glad you guys love the original Subway art book by Martha and Henry, and it's a real honor to see what you kids have all done over all the decades of really keeping the art form alive, and thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Ogburn.
Yes,
Thank
that's
you.
right, my real name.
Yeah.
Yes, Blake,
Thank you.
still feeling great.
Blake.
Damn near 68. That's right.